Welcome Professor Yogendra Kumar Mishra with the Mads Clausen Institute, University of Southern Denmark, is joining us from Denmark. Well, Professor, welcome to this special broadcast. We are talking about the overarching importance of the green strategic partnership between India and Denmark, and also specifically talking about two aspects. One, the leadership of Denmark in wind energy, how such a partnership between India and Denmark can help India achieve its Paris goals, and also the way India has upped its ambitions in Glasgow. And second, how a cooperation between India and Denmark can totally change the scenario as far as agriculture in India is concerned. Your thoughts?
Yeah, good afternoon from Denmark. It's my pleasure and thank you very much for inviting. I have been following up the Denmark and India relations since quite long time, since a couple of years, and it has really got to much higher level. We are now in a much good relationship. Recently, Prime Minister from Denmark visited India, and now it's really an honor that PM Mr. Modi is visiting Denmark too. Renewable energy, food, and the climate, three are the important aspects where we need to really work upon. If you are driving across in the Denmark, you can see a lot of windmills all over the around, and we have more or less developed a kind of island, energy island, which is completely based on the renewable energy resources. Our aim is to go with zero CO2 emissions, CO2 level to the zero by 2030. That's the kind of immediate goal, and in long term by 2050 we want to go with completely renewable energy systems and the green transition. India and Denmark, they are going to make really a good partnership. I think we have learned much more, we have gained much more experience in Denmark about developing renewable energy systems and how to harvest energy from water, from wind, and from solar powers and other renewable resources, which can be really can be helpful and revolutionized in India. India has much more scope in terms of, say, 8 hours of sun time in the whole year nearly. So we can really go ahead and harvest too much energy. That is something we are really partnering together with a lot of industries, lot of academic institutions, and a lot of other kind of partnerships related to climate, green transition, and different funding bodies from Denmark and from India. They are cooperating at a different level in terms of joint funding proposals, joint initiatives for the dialogue for 2030 and 2050. So
right, Professor Mishra, there was a point that was made by Professor Joshi earlier that during the FTA negotiations between India and the EU, one stumbling block was the quality parameters that the EU was expecting of our dairy products because of the use of fertilizers and pesticides by India. So how do you think this partnership can, make our Indian agriculture greener going forward and more sustainable? Because in India also, we are focusing not only on organic farming, but also on natural farming.
We just need to look back into the old system, what we had long back, where we were using less urea and other things, and the food quality was much better. Now the Western countries are talking about organic farming, what we had already in our old system. It's just a matter of that India need to rethink about use of too much fertilizers and to investigate the new ways of farming. And we are now in Denmark trying to introduce different kind of approaches which India could learn as well. So considering our knowledge from the past and the new developments, because the organic farming and the micro irrigations, these kind of technologies, together with how to use very low amount of fertilizers to produce crop in the good qualities would be really helpful. So this is really, I know from European point of view, this was a concern, but I think that in future we are going to solve it in a much better way. And this will be really a great partnership.
Right. Professor Mishra, another point that Professor Joshi had made was with regard to e-mobility, on how there is extensive use of bicycles in a country like Denmark, and that is of course contributing to achieving the Paris goals as well as the Glasgow goals of Denmark particularly. So how can the two countries share their experiences and their knowledge and their skills in a partnership on e-mobility?
I am located in a city called Sonderburg, and that is known to be a zero CO2 city. It's a kind of, we have a climate neutrality. We have got the award of climate neutrality. Basically, this has to be done from every level. We have to educate our society about the kind of the importance of climate and how to be friendly with that. For example, we are at our institute, we are kind of motivating everyone to drive bicycles. We have special parking places for the bicycle. And if you see in Denmark, if you see on the road, at least 30 to 40% cars are hybrid, are electric vehicles, and also small scooter vehicles, and more or less they are also going to introduce the trucks. So there are two aspects we need to work on. We need to promote ourselves. We need to motivate ourselves to go for electric vehicles as much as possible, including the bicycle, e-bikes, and everything, to just reduce our dependency on the diesel or the petrol engines, more or less. And at the same time, we need to educate and motivate our colleagues, our community, that it is important, because then this is going to solve a very big problem in future about CO2. Otherwise, this will be a disaster. If we don't think today, this will be a big problem after 20, 30 years. This is CO2 is already a big problem now.
Professor Mishra, it's interesting that you are telling us that you are currently in a zero carbon dioxide emissions city. So
Right.
that goes on to show the kind of progress that Denmark has made as far as the green transition is concerned. I would like to talk to you more on sustainable water supply as well as sister city relationships between India and Denmark. But before that, I'll come to you. Continue to be joined by panelists with us. I understand that we have Professor Yogendra Mishra with us, who's continuing to be with us from Denmark. Professor, your first thoughts. You've heard both the leaders speak, and it was interesting that the Danish Prime Minister said that there is a need to build a closer bridge between the two countries. What sort of material would be there in this closer bridge? There is already green technology, there is a strong green partnership, there is wind power, and there is focus on e-mobility as well. How can there be a closer bridge built still between the two countries?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think what both prime ministers, the remarks they made today, are very, very significant. In my opinion, this has been started a little bit late. It should have been started quite early, because Denmark is a country with land of so many ideas. They have thought of so many ideas, and they have implemented carefully. And this is what we can see today. They are very successful, and this is what we can learn from Denmark and implement in India in a very good way. What we have something good in India, that like Professor spoke before. Since 2, 3 years, 4 years, or I can say from my experience in last 10 years, the arrival of Chinese students and Chinese colleagues have been little bit declined. The number of students have gone down, and the number of Indian students are going up into European Union, especially in Germany, Denmark, like countries, more or less. And this is exactly the transition where we need to match. We have very good, very talented manpower, brains in India, and we have really a nice kind of expertise in Denmark. So if we develop a close bridge together, and then this is going to be really a very good strategic partnership. Something what has happened after the COVID, that lot of countries, including the Denmark, because the role of China was not very clear, European countries have started looking India as the most powerful and the most potential partner in the future. And the Denmark especially has really focused. We have at the ground level, we have already established many relationships, MOUs together. But for example, is University of Southern Denmark and IIT Delhi, and there are many more such activities going at the grassroots level to increase our cooperation. So we are not only talking in terms of just commercial or industrial cooperation, we are also talking about kind of cultural and student exchange as well as educational cooperations, that we share the values together and we learn together and we grow together.
Absolutely. And towards the end, the Prime Minister mentioned, and I must say that the Danish Prime Minister will be accompanying Prime Minister Narendra Modi to the Indian diaspora event later in the evening. So many special gestures we are seeing from the Danish Prime Minister's side for the visiting dignitary. First, she came to the airport to receive the Prime Minister, then that informal conversation or tete-a-tete on the lawns of her official residence, and now the decision to accompany the Prime Minister to the Indian diaspora event or the Indian community event later in the day. How do you look at this effort, which is extraordinary, that is being made by the Danish side?
Since last few years, I have started hearing one statement which you might wonder. I have heard a lot of people saying that somehow German people are the Danish people, that somehow our DNAs are matching, and we have nearly the same thought, and we are going in nearly the same way. And this has the Indian people have really gained quite high respect in European countries. For example, Germany and in Denmark, we are getting really respected because of our knowledge, our skills and everything. And we are going in a parallel way. So this is really a way forward step if both prime ministers are going to kind of address the Indian diaspora. This is really great, a very good relationship forward. I'm really happy about it, and everyone should be proud on that.
Absolutely. And we are now, Mishra, I appreciate your patience. You have joined us from Denmark, and a number of agreements were also exchanged between India and Denmark, and also between the private sector enterprises. One of them was on a center of excellence and smart lab in India on safe and secure water. Tell us about the kind of expertise that Denmark has in this sphere, the cooperation that has happened so far. What are the kind of skills and expertise that Denmark have that you see there in terms of ensuring clean water and cleaning wastewater, etc.? If you could share that with us.
Thank you very much. We in Denmark have developed really state-of-art technologies, not only in the lab, not only at the university level. They are already working into the private public life, into the cities. We have smart solutions for the water, and we are taking out from the sea, we are taking out the water from the hospitals and different rivers, as well as different dirty waters from the ground, and we are trying to, and we have successfully kind of made them pure with high quality. And this has already been implemented into the society in different cities. If you go Danish water solutions or Danish clean solutions, there are several kind of innovations which are going on really. And I think water is one of the biggest problem in India, the water quality. We have a lot of waters, but quality is a concern. And if we both as a country from Denmark and India work together, then we could really make the water quality much better. So water quality, water purification, water quality monitoring, and then water reuse. So for example, water management. And these are three aspects where we will have to focus very carefully in the long term for future sustainable development goal.
Right. And there has also been an agreement that has been reached on the startup ecosystem. We are aware, Professor Mishra, I'll continue with you for now, that India is the third largest startup ecosystem in the world, and a lot of these startups are turning into unicorns, particularly in the post-pandemic period. We are seeing a lot of momentum injected in that sphere. So how do you think India and Denmark can cooperate when it comes to startups?
Yeah, the Indian way of startup is slightly different as compared to Danish way of startup. And I think if there are some joint initiatives between, if there are cooperations between both the countries together for joint startups, the sustainability will be much higher. Where Denmark has many ideas, and India is definitely the land where there is much more scope for those startups. So in this way, this is going to develop in a very good kind of very good synergy for the startup to be successful and to be implemented in long term into the society.
Right. Professor